3 more questions to ask a business coach as you're interviewing them. These are, again, some more questions that are real zingers, difficult ones, and they'll help you figure out who it is that you're talking to see if it's the right fit to move forward. My name's Leo. I'm a business coach. Let's dive right in. Before we dive into the first question, I want you to understand an important concept, which is that there's a spectrum, a range, so to say, where coaches fall on. And obviously there are a lot more variables and components to coaching to consider, but here's one to keep in mind. Towards one end, you have more of a life coach, somebody that's equipped to talk about the momentum, the motivation, the obstacles that go into building your business that have you use the tools and systems, towards the other end of the spectrum, that allow you to really grow your business. So this is more of the mental game. The other end of the spectrum is somebody that's much more focused on the systems and strategies, the mechanical components to your business in order to grow it and scale. That's somebody that's focused on specific processes or maybe consulting projects that really helps you accomplish a specific goal. Now, here's the thing. Somebody isn't just someplace in the spectrum where they do one or the other. Some people tend to specialize in one or the other, but you want to make sure that your coach is capable of handling both, or at least where you want them to be on this range. So I'm going to give you 2 questions to consider in order to figure out where is this coach. So let's start first with the more systematic side. The key question here when it comes to your business's growth is return on investment, is a very mechanical analysis of your business's profit and how it will increase based on the investment in this coaching model. You want to make sure that this systematic oriented coach, if that's how they brand themselves, understands really how to measure that ROI. Because here's the challenge, is it's a pretty difficult number to measure. It might seem simple in some situations of, okay, we put in a marketing strategy that costs you $5,000 and you made an extra $20,000. That ROI calculation is quite simple, but there are other variables affecting your marketing. So you want to understand their thought process of how they really connect the increase that they're helping you instill via those systems that are brought into your business and the investment that you're putting into it. If you want to throw a real wrench in their system, ask about the return on investment of time. Next up, going more towards the life coaching end of the spectrum, this is where you're going to ask more about the problems that they foresee you having ahead. This is where it gets really interesting. If somebody jumps in and says, oh, I know you, you've got this, and this problem, and they barely know you, that can be kind of a red flag because they might either be putting you through a cookie cutter process or they might be making some dangerous assumptions about your situation. Now, what they might be able to tell you is the general roadblocks that business owners in your situation have ahead and how they help people through them. That helps people more really understand the life coaching component of this work. I advocate having somebody that's capable of both. Now, generally that tends to cost more, but you want to understand where this coach is on that spectrum. And again, they might do both so that you get the person that's the right fit for you. Question number 2, and this goes into the business model of business coaching, which is a really important thing to consider. Fundamentally, it's a service-based business. It's often augmented by either a one-to-many model, which is kind of a webinar or a workshop, or a scalable product, which is maybe a course or something that they sell, like a book. So you want to ask them about their business model. There are a lot of ways to do this, but here's some things to consider. One, and this is a really telling question if you ask it right, what is your capacity? Now, if somebody tells you, oh, my capacity is unlimited, dig into that a little bit. Because fundamentally, there are very, very few things in this world that are truly unlimited. If somebody has unlimited capacity, it is truly only possible if they have something that is perfectly scalable, where it's a course that 10 people could buy or 10 billion people could buy, and it's essentially the same thing. You find a course like that that truly can have that range, and I'll be really excited to see it. So many coaches just say, maybe in terms of referrals, send me as many clients as you possibly can, and I will handle them. Something that I think is a very telling thing to consider in this conversation is somebody really acknowledging and setting their capacity. Because here's the thing, businesses grow, and often service-based businesses will have a certain level of capacity that when they reach it, they then invest in the ability to have bigger capacity and deliver to more people. So you want to pay attention to milestones that people are putting in the process to understand how they can grow their business. And as a business coach, that's something that they really should be practicing what they preach. So you might hear an answer like, when I start to get beyond this number of clients, that's something where I start to pull back. Or I'm looking to fulfill a portfolio of 10 to 20 clients that really I work with in this capacity. But what you're looking for, again, is the thought process behind how they answer the question. The red flag here, the warning sign, is somebody that says, oh no, I have unlimited capacity. Don't worry about that. That might be somebody that's kind of obfuscating their business model and really just putting you in a little box and not explaining the things that they should be practicing as well as preaching. Now, the next question, and this one can be unbelievably telling as well, is to ask your coach what they do to prepare for your session. This is a really interesting question because in general, you don't really want somebody to put you through a cookie cutter process. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some cookie cutter processes out there that are tremendously powerful. I've contributed to building some of them. But if you're looking for the kind of coach that's really there with you to adjust things to your situation, there tends to be a good amount of prep that goes into that. If they're just preparing in the session while they're there with you, that might not be the best coaching situation for you. So some things to listen for are, do they have a team that does any kind of research? Are they doing research in your industry, business model, your situation before the session happens? And you also want to listen for how much time they really spend outside of it. Because again, it's a service business with capacity. If they spend 10 hours preparing for each one of your sessions, that's pretty difficult for them to maintain if they start getting a lot more clients quite quickly. They are full. And to be honest, the first thing that's probably going to go is that 10 hours of preparation for your session. So this is a good chance to see how are they really adding up and measuring the time that goes into the sessions that you have with them, and what can you expect from them outside of those sessions. Here's a bonus question. There's often a term that's used in coaching, which is the open door policy that usually has a word called unlimited associated with it. That's something I always recommend that people challenge, because again, there are very few things in this world that are truly unlimited. If you have an unlimited open door policy, ask them about what it looks like to actually test that. If you were to send them 30 emails a day, if it's an unlimited email support process, how would they respond to that? If they have an unlimited phone process, what would it look like if you booked 3 extra sessions a day to get on the phone with them to ask them certain questions? They probably wouldn't respond well to it later on. So it's a good thing to acknowledge earlier on so you understand the limits of this model. Just a peek behind the curtain, one of the reasons that people use the unlimited word is our brains don't really process it that well. When we hear unlimited, we think something unbelievably valuable. It's like unlimited refills, when in reality, we're probably only going to have a finite amount of refills. We're not going to be drinking out of that cup for the rest of eternity. So make that unlimited number more finite by asking them what that open door policy might look like and how they're supporting you between those sessions. So I'm not going to share any more questions in this one. We're going to make another video about it because I like to break it up. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I have sold a lot of coaching, over $1 million, and I've been in this industry for a while, and I'm more than happy to help you find the right coach, because that's really what you need. Assuming business coaching is right for you, you want to find the right fit for you so that you have what you need in order to succeed. Thanks for being here.